right, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, August 5th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Jules and Lady Pippo, maybe Zori, here on UCY.TV. Good morning!
Hey, how are you?
Great. That was just by the skin of my teeth.
It really was.
I had no idea even what the day was, so that was pretty interesting.
It's good to have you back.
It's not good to be back. I don't know. This is too hard for me. I don't think I can do this anymore, honestly. But at some point, we'll figure out what to do.
Right on.
Too
Whatever
much.
you want to do is what we'll do. So
I need sleep, and I need to give my kid a summer. So this show's gotten in the way this entire summer to do that. But by the time I get out of here, I'm 2 hours behind on my work.
right.
And my kid's been up for 3 hours by that point, and I still got all my work to do. So
Right.
if I got up at like 5 and worked until the show started, I'd be done, and that would be the end of it.
well, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll figure it out.
There you go.
So how's it going?
I'm all right. It's an exciting day today. My friend Rivka that you met the one time, today's election day and she's running for treasurer.
That's cool.
Very exciting around here. I didn't go to my class last night because we were walking around. She was knocking on doors, talking to people.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
And what's the party she's running on? Get the assholes out of office party?
Yes. Yes, that's the party. And people are really digging it.
Good.
They're really, really liking what she's got to say.
Especially in Michigan, there's lots of assholes up there.
Oh, my God. Yeah, well, the woman that has the position right now was appointed to the position because I guess the woman who had it before got sick, so she was appointed, and she's held that position for 7 years. No one's challenged her until now.
Hey, but here's the thing. I thought when she was appointed, was she's taking the place of someone else who had resigned or gotten sick?
Yeah.
Well, I thought, I have a friend whose family member ran for council, and basically what happened was how they ended up as a council member is that the incumbent ended up getting sick or had to resign or whatever, and so he was appointed, but he was only appointed for the remainder of the term of that individual, and then he had to run for election. And he got elected, so now he's in permanently as an elected official.
Right.
So how's that? How did she stay in there 7 years without having to
maybe she worked there in a different capacity and then was appointed there, so I think the whole combination of her term was like, I don't know, whatever the term was for this lady. I think that ends in 2 years. I think it's a 4-year term. So, and then she served in another capacity before that. So, as maybe an interim incumbent, you know what I mean? But her whole experience in this realm has been 7 years. I guess I should have clarified that. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I don't know. People were really liking the fact that she was going door to door and shaking hands and
kissing babies.
Kissing babies and everything. We were down at the bar on Saturday. She was not drinking, and
good call.
That's right. But she was, hanging out with everybody, and we were dancing because there was a band down there, and it was pretty fun. So I can't say that I wasn't drinking.
Or suffering.
Or suffering indubitably. Oh my goodness, Sunday was a terrible day for me.
That's why you gotta drink craft beer.
Yeah.
Craft beer does not give me a hangover.
It's it's made from premium ingredients. I can't drink any of that crap that they serve. Like especially draft. Oh, you get bacteria in the lines. I don't know if anyone knew that. Oh,
My
sure.
grandmother owned a bar all those years, so I kind of know some of the secrets. But yeah, you have to put a disinfectant through those lines. And I mean, if you're really fancy, you could probably get someone to scrub them out with like a really long rotor-rooter brushy thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate to tell you, most bars don't.
No, and that's a fact, especially these little one-horse town bars.
Exactly. So if you have draft beer and the next day your stomach is like rolling and you're like, oh my god, what did I eat? It's the beer. It's the bacteria in the lines.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
that's why I don't drink beer. I don't like beer at all.
Draft is nasty.
Yeah, I just don't drink either that beer or craft beer.
Well, I'll tell you what, draft is nasty from a little hole in the wall if it's just like name brand commercial beer. Draft is great if it's from like a brew pub.
Sure.
And it's, whatever this week's newest flavor of the week is.
I love the whole idea of the craft brew. I just don't like that malty taste. So, and that's pretty much all.
Flip it then. Go for the hoppy. I love hoppier the better. 100 IBU is like some of the hophead stuff. That's what they call it. And
right
you know what it tastes like? Yeah, that's my problem. I couldn't drink beer for many, many years because it leaves that horrible aftertaste, like at the back of your throat.
Yeah.
And I found out I didn't know anything about beer before, so I've been learning a lot. In the brewing process, it's actually the hops they use. So that taste is from the way they make lager beer. Did you know that? Now, I guess there's a couple different families of beer. There's lager and there's ale. Well, I've always been an ale fan. Lager, anything like that is just like, ugh. And it's the way they make it, and I don't remember the difference. But one floats and one doesn't. And
my ex-husband brewed beer and still does. So I kind of learned how all that stuff works through him, because he was so very good at it. I
know. I'd like to learn. It would be a great shit at the fan skill now, wouldn't it?
Well, heck yeah!
Everybody still needs beer.
That's right.
I'm going to be the enabler. Beer and grow tobacco.
And wine, you can let food ferment. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
I'm going to be the bad influence and shit hit the fan. Come to Jules when you need a buzz.
So it's definitely or just plain stock up on booze too. That you can just stock up on existing stuff you get at the store. That's always a great barter item.
Yeah, get the cheap stuff.
Yeah, keep the good stuff.
Actually, my friend and I were talking about this the one night. Instead of buying my dad's like, I get big bottles of the cheap vodka. And I'm like, what are you going to be doing? Like, partitioning it out here. I'm going to give a shot to you. My friend and I were talking, because how are you going to use it to barter if you got a big gallon bottle? They're going to see you come out with your gallon bottle as you're pouring them one shot to pay for, I don't know, the corn that they just brought over. You don't think they're going to want the whole bottle?
Right.
Or you don't think they're going to come back later when you're not there and take it? So my friend and I were talking the one night, and sometimes I don't ever go into a liquor store, but I have a few times in the last few years, and the one locally has this big barrel, like a rain barrel, full of those little airline liquors.
Oh, no way!
Tiny bottles. And they had, honestly, they must order them all for, all their best sellers or something. He must have had 100 different liquors in there, everything you can imagine. I was like, wow, wish I drank liquor, because those are pretty damn neat. But, the thing is wow. And he'd have them on sale, $3 for $1 or something.
Wow.
And I'm figuring he's doing that as a sales tool to get people to try different stuff, so they go, wow, I really like that rum, and then come in and buy a big bottle. But think about, if you had a couple hundred of those.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Those would be perfect little traders. Yeah.
Hey, that's true.
And if you can find a place who has them on sale like that guy, that's what I was thinking. I should probably go back in there and see what he's got going on.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll stock up on some of those and put them away.
That's a good idea.
So, anyway, I just thought I'd toss it out there. Plus, I think the bottles are just so damn cute.
They are. Make sure Paige doesn't find it.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
Well, no, when I was a little kid, anything like that, I would be totally into, because it was little and it was cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely
exactly.
right. You don't want kids to see
yeah.
that. No, I'd be putting that away somewhere.
Big
locking
time.
Locking it up.
But yeah, I totally remember that. We used to play with them and stuff. This little bottle.
Well, even perfume bottles, anything like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I still think they're cute. And I might even drink one because it's so cute.
That's about a shot in there in each of those.
Yeah,
right?
I think it is. Yep, I think it's a shot.
Interesting. That's kind of cool.
So you know what? It's already pre-measured too. So unit of exchange.
That's right. That's
standardized.
Yep.
The booze exchange.
And they'll probably kick a little barter or a trade right up over they'll be like, yeah, I'll take that. You know what I mean?
What was that?
So if you're bartering with somebody, that would seem like, I'll throw a couple of these in. You know what I mean?
That would push the deal over the top, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm
How
saying.
about a vodka and a rum?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, yeah. I'll give you the chicken.
Exactly.
You want the rooster? No, I want the chicken so it lays eggs.
Big toe. That's perfect. That's a good idea. Dang.
So where do we go from here? Hey, I was talking in chat last night. I want to talk about this since I don't know, the world news is just too damn depressing, and I
know.
You know what? That's another reason. I just I need to live now. I can't be living in this psycho world. But
Bola's coming.
Oh, don't even.
Yeah.
So yesterday, as I'm leaving town, heading home, over the weekend, I had gone. They had the yearly steak and clam bake. Mm-hmm. So I was down there for the steak and clam bake.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it was fun. I hadn't seen everyone in a while, and I was heading down there with my dad's friend. He was driving, and we took the back roads. So we're cruising down the back roads, and we see this tractor for sale, and he decides to pull over. So he pulls over, and the guy who owns it comes out, and he's talking away and talking away and talking away. And I'd never met the guy before. This guy was just so damn nice. He gave us the whole tour. And,
that's great.
Oh my God, he took us into all of his barns. His wife passed away a few years ago, and he's got all this land and all this stuff, and you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Anyway, as I'm leaving town yesterday, so we were there for an hour and a half, totally kicking it with this guy. He's so nice too, and I find out that my friend's husband grew up with his son, and they they were big time troublemakers together. So I mean, everybody knows this guy. I just never met him in the 6 or 7 years. So, anyways, I'm leaving town. I had this bright idea, and I stopped up there yesterday before I was leaving, and the thing was, he has these 3 massive barns just full of all this amazing stuff, and as he's showing us all the stuff that he has, everything is organized and polished and alphabetized and hanging on the walls, and it all has a slot. And I mean, it's all antique, amazing stuff, but it's all put away. You know what I mean? So I stepped up there and I said, hey, I was thinking about some stuff. You know anything about, you ever watch Pickers? And he's like, oh, I love that show. And I said, well, you got all this stuff. He just wants to sell all the shit and ride his Harley. And oh my God, does he have a nice Harley?
Really?
That Harley's already been to all 50 states. So
no way.
He wants to do, oh my God. And for a dude, he's my dad's age. And for a dude that's my dad's age, and this guy is just pretty hip. He's been to Sturgis a whole bunch of times. He's been to every single festival. And he just, he's alone now. It's him and his doggy, and his dog rides with him. So he just wants to go ride,
Was he got a little sidecar for the dog?
I don't know. What he puts the doggy in. It's just a little dachshund. It's a cute
little so you can fit that sucker in a saddlebag.
Yeah, probably.
That's great, man. Little head peeking out.
Yeah, and she's such a cute dog, too. And she's older, kind of slow.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, so anyway, I said, hey, do you ever watch the Picker show? And he's like, oh, I love that show. And I said, well, look, I was thinking about some of the stuff you were showing me and the fact that you wanted to, sell all this stuff. I said, if you put this stuff out for a garage sale locally, these people aren't going to, It's out in hill country. You know what I mean?
Right.
I said, so I got a proposition. You interested in someone taking a bunch of pictures of your stuff and maybe listing it on eBay? He's like, oh my God, I hate computers. I was hoping somebody would someday ask me if I wanted to do something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, I think he and I are going to do some picking. He says, oh, I already got like 3 or 4 things I'd like to do right away.
Wow.
So I told him I'll be back this weekend and we'll get I'll start him a little store on eBay and we'll see what happens.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that is fun. And plus you know the ins and outs of that, like totally like front and back, so that's cool, man.
Actually, I've never done that before.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I've always wanted to, but I mean, I never had like 3 huge barns to pick either.
Wow, this is going to be 3 huge barns. Dang, I bet you he's got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, the guys in chat were all putting dibs on cast iron cookware, old lawn or garden implements.
That's awesome. Old garden implements, indeed. Absolutely, that's the kind of stuff that's not going to break. Like the Chinese junk you get in Walmart now.
Oh, you should see. I mean, all of his stuff. He's one of those dudes who must just be very meticulous. You know what I mean? Like, all of his stuff is in perfect condition. He's got manuals for everything, and it all looks brand new.
Wow. Yeah, like when you show stuff, you got to show the little manual or whatever it comes with. Oh, my God. That stuff's that'll fetch, like, some nice...
Yeah, that's what I told him. So I said, look, you pick what you want. You write me the descriptions. Sure. I'll get the pictures. We'll do some price point research. I'll go out. I'll see what other people are selling them for or whatever. Yeah. And then when you go on eBay, you just set a minimum price and set that as the reserve. So, you know, you want $100 and it never makes it to 100, then it doesn't sell. But once it gets to 100, then it's free reign, you know? Then it'll take the highest bidder.
Yeah, that's cool.
So he was like, when I left yesterday, we were both like beaming ear to ear because it was like, wow. I mean, he's gonna get rid of his shit. I might be able to make a little business on the side, and hey, why not? And that's love doing that shit. I mean, you know, I told you I love to. It's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah, man.
The good little stuff and whatever. I just love doing that stuff. So
isn't that funny how like things like that just fall in your lap?
Well, yeah, and it was just dumb chance that we took the back roads to go to the steak and clam bake. And we stopped because we saw the tractor, and it was a nice one. So my dad's friend wanted to ask him how much.
That's awesome. That's totally amazing. That's great. I don't know, the world works like so strangely. I don't know. It's pretty cool. That's
you know, the thing is, too, is down in, New York... You've been to New York before, right? And I'm probably sure much of Michigan. It's a lot of rural country. I mean, this is a lot of New York is farms. And I know people, when they think of New York, they always think of city. Right. Which, by the way, we'll talk about New York City, and I don't know if there was any update from last night, but much of the southern tier of New York is crops and cows, sheep, trees, right. And a million farms and old barns stuck in the hillsides.
Oh, right.
So, you know, I was saying to my friend, I'm like, man, do you know how many barns there are that we could be picking down here?
Big time.
Hey, we could, for the rest of our lives, we could be knocking on doors going, hey, you know, like the pickers do. Why would we not?
There you go.
Think about the fortunes that are all sitting in these barns rotting away that no one's ever going to find out about.
That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty cool. So you never know where this road will lead you.
All right, maybe it'll get me out of radio.
There you go.
I don't know. I've done my due, I think.
Yep, it's definitely difficult to pay attention to this. Like, and I can't even imagine. I'm already at my end now, and I've only been doing it for a couple months. You know what I mean? I can imagine after years of doing it, like you have, I'd probably be pulling my hair out too, dude.
I have a friend who's been doing this even longer than me, and all he does is dreams of death and destruction and horribleness every single night because of all those. Yeah, I don't want to get there.
Right. I mean,
The thing is, here's the thing. I took the old Oracle Facebook page that I made them, and I repurposed it a few months ago, and I called it the Pay Attention Coalition. I think I showed you guys that banner. It's got like these 3 dopey guys' faces on it, and they all have their mouths going, oh! And underneath the Pay Attention Coalition, it says combating normalcy bias.
Oh,
I
that's
thought that
great.
it's kind of funny because, that's what we're doing pretty much.
Excellent.
The thing is, I start to feel like I want to crawl back into my Dogma Snuggie.
Right.
The last 10 days, at least I had internet so I could work. I told a few people I had to come home because I sucked my internet dry down there.
Right.
It was I was pulling everybody's shows down, and I was trying to see if I could like do it all down there. So everyone's sending me their shows. I'm sucking them down. I'm cutting the shows. I'm uploading them up to the server, which will work great for this week. Except I went through a month's bandwidth in 1 week. So by Monday morning, yesterday, that's why I couldn't be on. I was at you. They don't cut you off, but they put it so it is literally like a grapefruit fruit through a straw.
Whoa. That's hardcore.
Yeah, big time. But I couldn't even get a page to load, so there's no way I could do voice. So thank you for being on yesterday. But yeah, I had to come back because I had too much to get done.
Oh, that's fine. No problem. It's good to help. That's what I'm here for. It's a good deal. Whatever you decide to do is what, is going to happen. So
Yeah.
I would just,
Here's another thing. And maybe it's me, like when I go away, I tend to get neglectful of myself because
Right.
you're not in your routine anymore, and
Sure.
there's too many distractions, and then of course my friend comes up every night after work. Hey, Joel, and I don't have that at home. It's just work, no play when I'm here. But at least I get to play a little bit when I'm there for the 2 hours when she can hang out, and then she leaves, and I have to take a nap. But I don't eat as well. I don't sleep as well up there because then it's like burning the candle at 3 ends.
Oh,
But
my gosh.
what happens is I'm not taking my vitamins. You know what I mean? I'm not doing my turmeric. So by the time I got home, my hands, I have to tell you, I think I am suffering from a very bad case of carpal tunnel right now. My wrists, my hands, my knuckles. My knuckles are really swollen. Yeah, and it's totally not cool. I was saying to my husband, what am I going to do? My hands are like what do all my work.
Exactly.
I don't want robo hands, thank you.
Yeah, if they're inflamed and stuff, it means it's your body telling you got to stop doing that,
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
Now, last night I did pop double turmeric, so I'll see. I'll do another double today, and it helped a little bit, but here I was my last night down there, and I have a water cooler, because it's spring water, but I don't know, I'm still kind of funny about that, but it's way, way cleaner than local Rochester tap water. We tested it once. They had one of those particulate little dippy things. It's the little electronic particulate for doing silver. And so I took some water out of the tap down there, which is literally like tapped right directly out of the ground. Like out of the stone.
Well water.
Spring water. Spring water.
Oh,
it's not a well,
neat.
it's a spring. But literally, there's a pipe stuck into the rocks, and the water's trickling through the rocks into the pipe, into the cistern, and then comes out of the tap. So I typically don't drink that, but everyone else does down there. And so the particulate meter, I stick it in there, and it came up with 3 parts per million. Maybe 4. I brought it home. We were like over 300 out of my tap.
Wow. So that's pretty darn clean down there.
Oh, yeah. What? My question is, what the hell's in our water up here? Chlorine, fluoride, and what else?
God, well, probably they can't quite filter out all the pharmaceuticals.
That's true.
So there's that, and the particulate levels, I'm sure they don't filter all that out either. That's nasty. Jeez. And then we had over on Lake Erie, that freaking crazy, like, what is that? It's that, I don't know, I can't remember what it was called. It's this giant, like, they told everybody in Toledo they couldn't drink the water.
The algae.
The algae, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I was watching that last night, and here's the scary thing. Talk about, our West Coast is irradiated, so we got all that ocean water that we got issues with, and everything is in drought, the entire West Coast and the Southwest. We have the Corexit in the Gulf. Yep. So, your last great store of fresh water, except for Lake Tahoe, your last great store of fresh water in the United States, Tahoe is actually the biggest lake beyond the Great Lakes, which is fine. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't seen anything. Maybe the elite are saving that one for their special access.
I'm sure.
But now all of a sudden, you have 400,000 plus people who are told that not only can they not drink the water out of Lake Erie, but they can't bathe in it.
Right.
Because of this green algae.
Well, hold on a second. The local, I was saying this yesterday, the local Channel 7 News here went down there, and apparently the health inspector on the beach that guy happened to land at said it was okay to go swimming in Lake Erie. And and he was filming people over there swimming, and a couple of moms came up to him and said, "What are you here for?" Well, there's algae, there's a water ban, and if you guys are able to swim here, because the health inspector said it was okay. And they were like, "No way, if you're here, we're not swimming," So that's crazy that they allowed them to do that. But I guess the way the wind's been going,
I was watching that.
It's been pushing it, like, in certain areas, and then other areas apparently are clear.
Well, yeah, that's what they had on Weather Channel at dinner. I was watching, and they're showing that it originated over in Canada, and they're doing the little wind graphic.
Yeah.
And they show it pushing it toward Toledo. Woo!
I saw that too.
There. And I grew up on Lake Erie, so I grew up right across the way.
Oh.
From Canada. Canada's directly across. And,
right.
I don't know. I lived there until I was 18, and I remember algae smell in the water in the summertime. You always had algae smell. I hated drinking water that smelled like algae because I didn't eat fish, and that's what fish smells like to me, is algae.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Something's not right here. Over the last couple of years since I started paying attention with Fukushima, there have been lots and lots of toxic algae blooms. This, to me, looked like just some pretty slimy green algae. Now, we used to always get that seaweed. I swam in the beach my whole childhood. I literally grew up across the street from Lake Erie. We had an 80-foot cliff. I lived right. I didn't have the beach in my backyard. We lived on the next street, and it was literally walking distance. That's where I spent my whole childhood. Me and my friends had bonfires almost every night on the beach,
That's awesome.
Getting into trouble. And there was an 80-foot cliff there. We had to go down. Bethlehem Steel had donated stairs, which are now long condemned and ripped out of the cliff. But we used to have these steel stairs embedded into the cliff, and probably not even a quarter mile down the road, we'd all stumble down there. Well, no, we'd walk down there, get down the stairs. Guys would be bouncing beer balls down there and spark a fire, and then we'd stumble home.
Right.
I always have been in Lake Erie. There's always been algae in the summer, but it's like that green seaweed stuff that would wrap around your leg. You'd fling it at each other. But not like this glowing green shit that I saw on the videos yesterday.
Oh, I know.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
I don't know. And it was coming out of the freaking tap water, too, like that, man.
Ugh. And they said, it could be caused by, overflow of sewage, or, all you farmers in Toledo. I'm like, where are all the freaking farmers in Toledo? I haven't been through Toledo in many years, so I don't remember how city-ish it is.
Mm-hmm. I think
I don't
it's
know.
a major.
Yeah, I thought it was. And they were making it sound like all the farmers were letting their fertilizer run into the lake.
That's what they're blaming it on.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And it's weird. It looks like little tiny beads of this algae. So it's kind of making me think, remember those plastic beads?
Yeah, that we were talking about.
Yeah, maybe
about
they've
that facial scrub and shit.
Yeah, maybe they've soaked up this algae maybe, and now there's little balls of algae everywhere.
Could be.
Ooh, yikes. It looked like little tiny beads of chunks of stuff. So I don't know, man. That's just nuts.
Yeah, well, now it's concerning to me because as we have all this other stuff going on, and then, of course, complete, utter global unrest, and now this whole Ebola manufactured bullshit, we called it, and I am just more angry than you can even imagine over any of all of this that's happening, to the point where it makes the room move just me thinking about it.
Exactly.
It gets my blood pressure up that bad. But then to see that, oh yeah, we're bringing him back here, and oh yeah, now whoops, we're testing someone in New York. Oh yeah, well, there's, we're pretty sure he doesn't have it. What?
Yeah.
In all my years of postulation of what bad shit they could do, New York City was ground zero.
Sure.
For if you wanted to do Typhoid Mary, that's where you do it. So put on a seatbelt, people, because I think they're going to pull this. And here's the thing, though. Along with all this, let's make sure we get something cooking to ruin all that fresh water in the Great Lakes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's right.
Take down anything that would allow you to be self-sufficient for large numbers of people. I don't know.
Dude,
that's all I'm thinking. As soon as I saw that, and they're like, 400,000 people can't drink the water. I'm like, Toledo, isn't that on Lake Erie? Yeah, what bullshit is that?
It is.
All my life I lived on Lake Erie. We have never, ever, ever had a do not drink the water. Ever. Ever. My whole life. Ever. My parents still live there. Ever. So, they're making this out like this is a seasonal thing. No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
Ever. It's never happened since I've been alive. Not that I remember. My mother never said to me, you can't take a bath because of the algae.
Right.
Whoops, don't get water because you can't drink it. Like I said, it would smell in the summer. You could smell algae, and I hated it.
Sure.
But never, ever, ever have we ever had where they said don't drink the water.
That's just crazy.
But they made it sound like on Weather Channel that this was a normal thing.
Yeah, things are getting crazy all over the planet. I mean, I saw I don't think they usually have tornadoes in, like, Turkey.
No!
There was a tornado in Turkey.
No way!
There's 3 freaking hurricanes, like, barreling straight.
4! Well, there's 3 off the West Coast, which I was assuming are probably heading right toward Fukushima.
They're going straight for Hawaii. They're coming
Oh, no way!
Yes, and all 3 of them are supposed to take the same damn trajectory. So all of the radiation that's on the West Coast or off the West Coast is going and immediately going to dump all over Hawaii.
Well, you know what? We got a guy there who's a radio host, too. He and we touched base way back in the beginning. Kauai, I think that's the island he's on, or in the city he's in. He's on my radiation network. And every once in a while he gets spikes, and he does have one of those pancake outdoor meters. So it's mounted under his eaves. So when they've had like those typhoon rains, he's gotten some really high readings before. But
my God.
if you watch the way the jet stream goes, or not the jet stream, what do you call it in the ocean? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes,
You got the ocean.
yes.
And if you watch from Fukushima the way it goes up around Alaska and then comes down around Oregon and down along the West Coast, and then jets back around south, back toward Japan. And so Hawaii is sort of like sitting in the sweet spot in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, man. If those typhoons or hurricanes, whatever they call them on that side of the world, start shooting up from south by California, where it's been stuck in the ocean.
They are. That's where they're originating.
That's nutty.
Yeah.
And then there's one headed toward Florida as well. Or up the coast, I think. They were showing
that's going
heading
out
up
to
the
sea.
East Coast.
Yeah, that's going out to sea.
Yeah, it'll be out.
Yeah. But I actually know people in Hawaii, and they're about to get in. The entire island chain is going to be inundated with radiation soon.
Yeah. Well, if it isn't already. In the very, very beginning, when we were tracking like every detail, there were already dairy farmers in Hawaii that were using zeolite to get the radiation out of the milk.
Oh my God!
And you have to remember too, they're a South Pacific island. So if you look at Bikini Atoll and things of that nature, I mean that whole area is already way irradiated.
Right, it's true. Yeah, Bikini especially.
And like my friend who is pro radiation points out, oh God, it's like the friend that I don't know how we even have anything in common because we don't agree on a damn thing. But it's interesting conversation because sometimes I actually listen and I go, okay, well maybe I was wrong. If you can make your case as to why I am wrong and why you're right, and of course, if you're completely opposing views, you have as much research on one side as I do on the other. I might listen, but those fish in Bikini Atoll and that reef that they made there, it's flourishing, and stuff like that makes me go, huh? Like, how is that even possible? Shouldn't it all be skeletons and death and destruction?
Or at least
mutated like 12 eyes?
Yeah, 12 eyes, yeah. Or like
so
the 3
I don't
eyes.
know. Yeah, or 3 eyes like Blinky.
Yeah. Blinky.
Yeah, so I don't know. There have been a few times with the radiation stuff where I've been shown something where we know for a fact that, there's been mass destruction and mass radiological fallout, and everything's doing great.
Well, the thing is that there's no radiation spill in history that matches Fukushima.
No, and it's still continuing.
Yeah, it's still doing it. So that's, I don't know. Those other things are just a little couple drops in a giant bucket compared to this.
Right, exactly. And those were instantaneous. One-offs at a time, not continuously every day at 10 bazillion gallons.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's... Now, speaking of which, hold on. Let me, I might have posted on my page. I need to find a cup, too. Speaking of... Yeah, here, hold on. Wow, it's been so long since we've had the opportunity to play videos.
Yay!
All right, here. I think my feed is off. Let me call myself. By the way, any hosts that are out there or anyone who uses Skype, I am so anti-upgrade to everything, and I haven't on any of my stuff because, it's always new spyware that they're installing. And about a week ago or so, Skype started sending me nasty messages going, hey, you have to upgrade, and if you don't, we're cutting off your access to Skype. And I was like, oh, you bastards. So I went to log in the other day, and it wouldn't even let me log in until I upgraded. And so I did. Oh, hold on one second. Binga, 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 bing. And so I did, and everything works really well. So it was kind of surprising because it usually doesn't work out that way. So, okay. Anyway, here's a story that came out yesterday that I was kind of weirded out about. I'm not really sure what to even think about, but it is titled Strange Creatures Found on a California Beach.
If you're in search of strange-looking sea creatures, you can find them on the beaches of the U.S. state of California. Marine scientists named the alien-looking creature Velella. They get to seashores by simply floating or when they are blown by the wind in large numbers. While some believe that Velella is a type of jellyfish, experts from California Academy of Sciences say they are only vaguely related and seemingly similar. The sea animals that are 40 to 80 millimeters long are not able to retain water, so they could get dried up within 1 to 2 hours.
So they're not really sure what these creatures are. showing up all over the California beaches. They think they might be somehow distantly related to jellyfish. Now, tell me if that isn't kind of bizarre. Wendy.
If you're in search of
hold on.
secret.
You there, Wendy? I think we lost her.
Sorry.
Oh.
I'm here. Sorry about that.
Did you hear what I said?
No.
Oh, busted. The video is talking about these strange unidentified sea creatures that have been showing up all over the California beaches, and they don't quite know what they are.
That's weird.
Well,
and there's a bunch of them? Like
no, they're everywhere, and they're not. They think they might have been related to the jellyfish, but they're not quite sure.
Wow.
I'd be saying, what on earth here? I'm going to put this into chat. They're just strange looking.
Wow.
When I see stuff like that, I always think Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Well, yeah, I mean...
You know, out of the blue, some strange creatures start showing up. Wouldn't you kind of be going, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. That's bizarre. I mean, not that the radiation has anything to do with it. You know what I mean?
Well, right. I mean, maybe they're like severely mutated jellyfish. Who knows?
It very well could be. Wow, they look like lily pad things. That's crazy. I bet you it is a mutated jellyfish.
I don't know. But jellyfish always tend to swarm nuke power plants somehow.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's another one. So, of course, I was trying to get my work done, and all the daily video uploads were coming, so I was catching some key ones. And there were two of them. One was poppies pour out from the Tower of London like a river of blood. Did you see that? It was actually in memory of World War I, I believe. For all the British soldiers who were killed, they made these poppies out of, I don't know, ceramic and pipe cleaner or something. And did this whole big artistic thing, so it looks like there are literally rivers of blood pouring out of the window of the Tower of London and all across the ground. So I thought that was pretty fitting.
Cool.
But the other story was Liberia orders Ebola victims' bodies to be cremated. Now, didn't the zombie movies all start like that?
Oh my God, yes. Oh no, jeez.
As all the virus gets now burned and up in the atmosphere, and then it rains down on everybody.
Oh my God.
I mean, who knows? I'm reading this as some new variant strain, and I was like, hey, didn't we learn that when supposedly those guys got off the boat in Italy that then they said didn't happen? That they had tested all negative for Ebola? And then they were like, oh, wait, it's that other strain of Ebola. Wink. Wink. That didn't show up on the test.
That's right.
You know, it's like this super-powered strain of Ebola. Well, who's to say it's not going to survive cremating and then raining down and bringing the dead back to life?
Absolutely. I mean, especially if it's been modified in any way.
Well, you know, that is the one thing. Here, I want to, for anyone, you know, I keep this weird echo. You hear that? For my desktop.
Yeah.
And I've changed nothing on this machine. I don't even have audio set up on this machine. But I need to get to, oh my God, all my work so good. Let me get to the website. If I can find it with my 10 million links.
I'm wondering if all these jellyfish are going to blow in and around Hawaii, too, with these hurricanes.
It's possible. They've been getting inundated with them in Japan. I posted something about a week ago. The beaches are just loaded with dead I mean, the whole... Well, we did a story back, it must have been 2-3 months ago.
I remember
about the West Coast. And it's now their new mating ground or something off the coast of Japan. And they're like, what the hell? I mean, millions and millions and millions of jellyfish. Like an incoming swarm.
Like all dead?
Well, this newest one, there were bunches of them dead. But no, all coming in to mate.
Oh, wow.
You don't want to be their mating grounds. It clogs up all the boats and everything.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wow. I'm trying to find... Wow, look, it's like the spyware has the new open mic on me again. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was since I did the upgrade on Skype yesterday. It's doing that, huh?
Oh my
Check it out. They got us open now. Open mic on all machines.
And see, I was doing that when I was hosting last week as well. I was echoing. Everybody else wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming. They got an open mic. When I first started the radio network, we were finding this crazy echo and couldn't figure out where it was, and it was some open mic that they had set that was completely hidden on my machine.
Ugh, bastards. It's like ridiculous already.
I want to find the archive from last night's show with Nick and DB. You guys were talking yesterday. Let me just find. What is the name of their show? The Media. There we go. Now hold on. Kill Skype. This is gonna. Yeah, it is that machine. Look, I killed it and it stopped.
Oh wow.
I guess I'm gonna have to dig through it and figure out where they opened my mic. Well, if I can get to his page, or you know what, it's probably on. Hold on, let's just stop this. It's on YouTube. We'll talk because it's gonna take me a few minutes.
All right. Well, basically, I don't know, man. Those jellyfish looked really, really crazy, man. And I don't know. It just seems like perhaps maybe they mutated, and then all their legs got seared into a lily pad, and then they floated over here. I don't know. Who knows? That's what it kind of looks like a little bit to me, like some kind of weird mutated form of it. So who knows? I'm a little concerned about the people I know in Hawaii, that's for sure.
Hawaii will survive.
Sure. My friends live out in tents out on their land, and I don't think tents survive hurricanes very well.
I know.
Yes, I'm a little... That's alright. And then it's just weird that 3 of them in a row, are coming like that, and then there's like flooding going on everywhere in the south and in Arizona.
Oh wait, no. Here, so San Diego got rain, Vegas got rain, and we had the guys on last night. By the way, G. Michael Hoff's new show starts tonight. By the way,
yay!
Hey, it's called All Things Apocalyptic. How fitting is that?
Awesome.
Yeah, he's really great too. I've had a couple conversations with him. I think it's going to be an awesome show.
What time does that start?
It's at 9:00 after the boys from New York City.
Sweet.
His first guest is going to be Annie Bergdahl. Annie Bergdahl I don't
Bergdahls.
Yeah, no, she's written a book. She's a prepper. You'll recognize her voice immediately. Her first book is coming out at the end of September, I believe. It's going to be an awesome show. But that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight.
Right on.
Everything is now not working on my screen.
That's bizarre.
I can't even get to YouTube.
Yikes. Maybe that
you
was
could talk.
Like,
you could talk.
I'm just thinking the Skype. I'm just thinking like the Skype could have given them.
I don't know what's.
That's just the way they work. Suddenly nothing works, and oh my god,
I'm used to it.
Ridiculous. So, let's see. Where do we go from here? I don't even know.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
All right, so the thing is that I need some quiet time here to find where he was talking. I know it was at the beginning of the show, and I don't want to play the whole show, or you guys can just sit here and listen to me bounce around and let me find it. But what do you call it? DB did a great overview of what is going on with this Ebola. You guys were saying that they patented the Ebola. No, they didn't patent the Ebola.
Anti-media
That's what that story you guys were reading said yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think that was true. I don't.
Really?
No one said what the publication was, so I was questioning that from the beginning. But
Oh.
DB gave this great rundown as to exactly what's going on, and I almost asked him if he wanted to be on this morning, except it's 6 a.m. there. So.
There were
Great.
2 different
Here.
peace plans put up. One by Egypt, which
Hold on.
solar to the Chinese government, meaning that they're going to get paid that debt back.
These guys are great. I love listening.
People in Africa, and there are reports saying that maybe the virus is acting a little differently, and
Here you go.
people are questioning whether it's starting to go airborne, which would be absolutely horrible. And now, last week we had these guys that were in Africa helping people out with Ebola, and they contracted it, 2 Americans, and they already brought the one guy back, and now he's in Atlanta. Which a lot of people said that was a pretty dumb idea, and I agree that was probably a pretty dumb idea. But now there's a story coming out today saying that there's possibly a guy in New York showing symptoms of Ebola. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he tested negative, or so they say. They're saying it's almost positive that he doesn't have Ebola, so we're going to see. But I guess he's going to quarantine himself anyway because out of the goodness of his heart. This has never been done before. They've never brought people back because they were always, able to use labs over there and treat it over there. And in fact, they are sending 50 top experts over there as we speak. But they brought people back because they wanted to use an experimental drug on them, which they did before they even set foot on a plane. They didn't want any possible blood or any kind of sample being drawn from these people once the drug was used for patent reasons. So pretty much they're coming back because they think they found the cure and they don't want anyone else but the U.S. to have it because we're going to sell it. And because if Ebola does become airborne, then it's going to become a mandatory vaccination for everybody in the U.S. and they can put anything they want in that. And if you don't take it, they'll throw you in some place with everybody else that didn't take it, and then the Ebola will probably hit in there. I mean, it's pretty simple. So these are the things that are getting set up. I mean, it's not that hard to see what's going to happen, and they've used these things in the past to exert more and more control. Now, what will be in what can we know that will be in a vaccine? What are they at now as far as nanotechnology? Is this the chip? I mean, there's a lot of theories popping up out there. And the death toll over in Africa is now over 1,000. So it's jumped, I believe, a few hundred in a few days. Yeah, and it is. It may go airborne.
Yeah, the virus is acting differently than it has before. And now,
Go figure.
my opinion on this story, but first I want to play a little devil's advocate here because we know of all these theories about how HIV was invented or cooked up in a lab somewhere. And like you said, these guys just came up with this new Ebola serum, I think is what they're calling it. That's basically a cure for Ebola. And we know how the pharmaceutical industry works. We know that they need us as customers. They need us to be sick. Cancer is a huge moneymaker.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk about that.
So I just wanted to put this out there, and I don't believe this, but I just want to say it. There's a chance that this stuff is cooked up for profits. But here's my take on it, and I think that it's more of just a big scaremongering tactic. It's like the swine flu and all this other stuff that came before it. And it may be what it may be really is just a big, just a giant distraction. They're just trying to distract us from what's really going on in the world. But I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I guess we're gonna have to see how it plays out. We know the mainstream is really hyping the fear factor up on this thing. So we're just going to have to see what happens over the next coming weeks. Does it spread in the U.S.? Does it hit our shores? I don't know. But if it does, we can probably bank on the fact that they're going to have this whole swine flu thing. Everyone's going to be encouraged to get vaccinated and all this stuff. These pharmaceutical companies are going to make a bunch of money. That's one thing we can guarantee. And who knows where it goes from there?
Yeah, I mean, this is the big. I think we can pretty much assume most people that are kind of up hip to the game. World War III has already started, and it's going to be the opening stages of biological warfare. These are the covert first prodding attacks. There's not going to be any troop incursions or bombs or missiles thrown around until this stuff's tried out first, to try to weaken populations, to sicken them, to decrease crops with HARP. All of these things are hitting. I don't know if you noticed, Nick, but finally we had that massive, massive amount of rain over here, and it was the weirdest crap with lightning and thunder, and it was not normal. It's almost as if we were finally like at that breaking point where we might have to HARP ourselves to get some rain, because maybe it was being disrupted and the drought was being pushed on us by one of the other powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like an unnatural rain.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like 4 inches of rain came down. That just never happens in California.
And it saved the crops.
Yeah, but a guy died in the flood, and then a bunch of people got stranded and stuff. We got some really, really odd rain here in San Diego this week, and it was just like, when was the last time that it rained in July and August? And it just, this weird storm came through, and then it was gone, you know? But it's well-needed rain, and the fact is, I mean, there was that report that came out of AccuWeather a while back about how they're doing how they were trying to switch over to drones to do the geoengineering experiments and stuff, because doing it in jets is just too damn expensive, and it also leaves a bunch of loose ends, because then you got to worry about the Edward Snowden type of whistleblower factor. But I mean, the fact is that they are doing geoengineering, and they've admitted to at least 6 sites in the U.S. that they're now doing it with drones. And you guys can Google this story. This isn't no chemtrail conspiracy theory. This is geoengineering facts. They're doing experiments with geoengineering to try to solve the drought. And as of now, we haven't really seen any success from these experiments.
Well, what does that mean, though? What is the success? Because the success is really, I think we always know that it goes back, follow the dollar. So if you throw aluminum and boron up in the air, and then you patent seeds for all the crops that make them an aluminum and boron resistant, as well as drought resistant, because the future wars will be HARP wars, and they'll be like drought and monsoon crap thrown back and forth. And Monsanto's going to profit handsomely, because nothing's going to grow but these specialized plants, and they're all patented. So there's the first prong. The second prong is, well, if anyone asks, it's for global warming. It reflects sunlight back. It keeps us cool. Maybe other parts of the world right now are super baking, but we're more or less pretty stable. Even though we've had kind of up and down, crazy seasons, we've been not as quite so extreme as other places in the world.
I'm going to stop there, because something else weird, too, speaking of weather, Vegas is one of the places that I keep my eye on, because Heidi's there, Hecty's there. It was in the 70s the other day. Now, we're talking crazy? Vegas in the end of July, beginning of August in the 70s.
Should be hundreds.
Over. I mean, weren't they just at 120? Remember at the very beginning of the season, they were at 120.
Right. Yeah,
so something
this is just
going
nuts. Absolutely crazy. And also I saw that this is like the, I don't know, maybe the 10th coldest year on record. Something like that. I have to go back and look.
I thought this was one of the very coldest.
It is. Especially couple it with the winter and now this cool summer. Right now, let's see. It's 66 degrees here.
Yeah, 68 here.
Nope. Nuts.
So anyway, you heard what they were saying, that the vaccine, and I have a bunch of stories on some of these vaccines. We've talked about the mRNA and the RNAi technology that they've been developing that would be like the next generation of adjuvant, right? We've talked about this. So instead of like old school ways of giving your body inactivated or attenuated viruses so it could recognize them and then build its own defenses, basically what it's going to do is modify this RNA so it can go into your body and modify your DNA to then recognize the pathogen, on the fly. Oh, what? We're gonna go retool you to recognize, Ebola variant X,
right?
And
right.
Then protect you against it. And I mean, it's a neat concept. Except I don't want any unknown, any DARPA-financed vaccination, or what? Monsanto is investing as well? Oh, yes. Philip Morris? I mean, come on. These aren't the guys you're going to trust with anything. I don't want that shit in my body.
Oh, hell no. And I was saying some of the very same things they were saying yesterday. I was saying the same thing.
Yeah, I was cleaning, so I caught just little bits and pieces.
Sorry.
But I thought I had heard someone saying that they had patented the actual Ebola.
Yeah.
And then put a patent on it.
Yeah.
And where is that?
I gave it to you just now, but then here's another one here that I've got that I'll give to you.
Well, why don't you read it? So I can find my cup at 10:02.
All right. Well, let's see. I got a couple of sources.
Or at least give us an overview. What does it say?
The overview is, let's see, patent details. This is a different thing. There's like 73 owners of this patent. It says the government of the United States of America, as represented by the Secretary, Department of Health and Human Services, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Let's see, it says 71 applicants. Ditto for what I just said. Let's see. I'm kind of scrolling through this. Description, probably. Oh, man. Let me see.
So you didn't go through any of that yesterday?
Well, yeah, I did. I kind of went through the article that was talking about it, and it was from Natural News. However, the links to all these things are here and visible, so that's why I went ahead with it. They're literally saying that there's an invention that provides the isolated human Ebola, H-Ebola viruses, denoted as Ebobun or Bundi Bugyo, deposited with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America, on November 26th of 2007. So I believe it was when that first Ebola outbreak in Africa and Uganda happened. They quickly isolated some of these inventions and patented them.
And it says that?
Yes.
In there? I mean, I haven't seen that, so when I start hearing, crazy alternative media who write anything to get views saying that we've patented Ebola, right, I question it, because that sounds like something one of the retard publications puts out.
Yeah.
The National Enquirer of Alternative Media.
Yeah, that's... But, I mean, it's here. I mean, I gave you the Canadian version, too.
Wow. I don't have time to read it at the moment. I'm trying
right, and it's pretty... I mean, it's human Ebola virus species and compositions and methods thereof. That's pretty self-explanatory. That they, they're freaking patenting it, and whatever methods that is being researched, that, the vaccines and whatnot, they have absolute dominion over.
That serum that they were talking about, here, I have 2 clips. So this story came out 3 days ago about their new experimental serum, which this is, I could guarantee you, they don't tell you exactly what it is, but I bet you this is one of those mRNA or RNAi vaccinations. Mm-hmm. So the reason why they were bringing the doctor back from Africa, and my exact assessment of that is, why wouldn't we send a CDC team to Africa and isolate them there? Well, I guess we did after the fact, but we brought him back here because we wanted to inject him full of our new experimental serum. But so here, this woman talks about it. Maybe. Oh, I hate this. That's too.
Joining me now to discuss this is Dr. Asperia Lasry, the Tropical Medicine Advisor to the group Doctors Without Borders. Dr. Lasry, thanks for joining us. We heard today about this experimental serum being used apparently on one of the American Ebola patients. We know, of course, there's no cure for Ebola. Can you tell us about some of the treatments being used to battle this disease?
So right now there are no known effective treatments for Ebola. All treatments that are being used to cure the disease are experimental. What we're worried about is that there is a lot of hope being put into these treatments and that it will create more confusion in the community if they don't work, and it might create more fear in the community if they don't work. So right now the treatment that we put in place is palliative and symptomatic. We're being more aggressive than we used to be in the past with the treatments, and we're doing more invasive procedures than we used to do in the past. But it's purely supportive treatment. It's not curative treatment that we have right now.
This epidemic is clearly getting worse before it gets better. Why do you think that the Centers for Disease Control waited until today to go to a level 3 travel warnings for Americans?
Well, that would be for the CDC to answer. There, of course, the fact that the disease is spreading in the way that it is worrying, and it's worrying that it's spreading beyond the borders of Guinea, which is where it started. But we're worried that putting restrictions on population movements will also make the epidemic more difficult to control. So it's we understand the worries and the worries of the different countries and the worries of the CDC, but we're also worried that if all of these measures are put in place, then people will hide the disease more than they will actually access health facilities.
Why? Now, wait, I want to stop because in this clip, they had a map that showed all the CDC quarantine stations. So
yeah,
there's one in Boston, New York, Newark, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., San Juan, Puerto Rico, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, Dallas, Houston, El Paso, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Anchorage, and Honolulu. I don't know if you knew about that. I know I didn't.
My goodness. Well, look, let me just re-clarify then. I just kind of got a bug in my ear that these Ebola patent things are just applications. They've merely applied for the patent.
Okay, so they're not actual patents yet.
They're not actual patents yet. But they are in the application process, apparently.
Oh, well, okay. So I wonder so is that going to make it a bioterror agent once they do that?
Right.
Oh, look, it works. It takes out 90% of all the people. Woo! Good application.
Right, exactly.
Some DARPA funding for that. Taxpayer financed.
There we go. All right. So that was that. But there's all of the info right there I gave you.
All right.
So I love this fucking echo. Hold on,
I gotta find my video.
You deal with the echo.
Are we both echoing?
No. Well, at least it's not to me. It's like almost feeding back through the screen that doesn't have audio.
Yeah, it did that when my phone was near the other night.
Oh, so your phone must have an open mic on it.
Yeah.
All right, here, I'm going to play the rest of this video we were just listening to.
We understand the worries and the worries of the different countries and the worries of the CDC, but we're also worried that if all of these measures are put in place, then people will hide the disease more than they will actually access health facilities.
Why has this become such a more extensive outbreak than others we've seen in the past?
Well, partly it's because the borders of these countries are quite permeable, and people do move from one country to the next. There's lack of knowledge of the disease, so people are scared. They're hiding the disease. They're not accessing health facilities. In many cases, we cannot access the places where we think that there are patients, and we're also stretched out at this point in terms of responding to the epidemic. So we're asking for a more implementation of the ground on the ground. In order to be able to control the spread of the disease to more than what it is right now.
All right. Dr. Esperia Lasry with Doctors Without Borders, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, and thank you for your interest.
And I mean, I'm going to tell you what, I don't doubt that there isn't some sort of pathogen that's out there because it's very obvious that there is. But the motivations behind this and how it's happening is definitely what's in question. Now, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, they roll him out every time they need people to like listen and get on board. Hold on, where did I put the Gupta clip? Because Gupta came out last night and we've cured him. Did you see that? We've cured him.
No,
oh yeah, hold on, we've cured him. This new vaccination was just so incredibly amazing. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? Those bastards had to do that because
I didn't even know he was sick.
No, not Gupta. Gupta comes out and says, we've cured the Ebola patient.
Oh. No, I didn't see that either. I didn't see that either.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, it was quite extraordinary to hear the story of this this serum, this experimental therapy that was stored at sub-zero temperatures being flown into Liberia expressly for the use of Dr. Brantley and Nancy White.
Hold on, I'm going to stop for 1 second because here's the thing. People are all freaked out. They've hyped up the fear. They got this new experimental serum, which we exposed already months ago, had all this DARPA funding behind it, okay? They've been working with this European company and some places over here. They've been working on this for a while. And this experimental serum that they don't tell you what's in it, but I can guarantee you it's got this new RNA technology in it, worked perfectly. If they would have failed 10 times and had like 3 eyes and 8 heads appear, nobody would be lining up for it.
Right.
But now that we've scared the shit out of you, and now that we have a cure, and now that it was so successful, even though it hasn't been tested, or, you know, got fast-tracked through the FDA, which I just heard yesterday as well.
Yes,
like we
I
said it
mentioned
would,
Mm-hmm.
right? As soon as there's a, pandemic, fast-track everything, open the doors.
Yep.
So it worked! They're going to get everyone to line up and to get the shit into them.
They already had this all ready to go.
They sure did. Problem, reaction, solution.
That's
All
right.
right. So here, we're going to play this again. I want you to hear this whole clip. Entitled, Secret Serum May Have Saved Ebola Patients. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it was quite extraordinary to hear the story of this this serum, this experimental therapy that was stored at sub-zero temperatures being flown into Liberia expressly for the use of Dr. Brantley and Nancy Whiteball, as you just mentioned. What was particularly extraordinary, this is a medication apparently came in 3 vials. It needed to be thawed out, not by having heat administer it, but just naturally thawed out and then given to the patients. Originally, as we have been reporting, Dr. Brantley had said, let's give the medication to Nancy Whiteball first, saying that he was younger, more robust, that she would actually benefit from the treatment better. But at some point during that whole process, apparently his condition really took a turn for the worse. He started to develop labored breathing, really struggling. In fact, he, as a doctor himself, apparently told people close to the area that he thought he was going to die. And at that point, the to him instead. What is even more extraordinary, again, and these are details that are just coming to us, is that between 20 minutes and 60 minutes after he was administered the medication, his condition sounds like nearly reversed, completely changed around. His breathing became regular. He had a significant rash over his body that started to go down, and he just improved really quickly. By the next morning, even was able to take a shower before getting on the pre-planned medical evacuation jet ride back here to the United States. But we've been hearing so many stories back and forth about an experimental therapy. We got more details now on how this all transpired, and more details as well about what this therapy actually is.
So there you go. What this therapy actually is, it's still the big freaking mystery. But whoa, it cured him.
Yeah, suddenly we just happened to get it in a matter of a week.
Yeah. How'd that happen? Technology is just absolutely amazing.
When they say fast track, they mean it.
That's exactly it.
God, how stupid do they think we are? Hello? Shit.
Yeah. So
hold on.
It does sound like trippy.
I gotta hang that up. So let me find the other one I wanted you guys to hear, because there were 3 or 4 of them. So, all right, we got this cure. We have this mRNA shit floating around. I'm going to tell you, you know what's so great is I've been listening to shows now the last couple days, and now all the hosts are on this, right? We were on this like way before everybody. But guess what? It sounds to me like we were right from day one. Like so. Everything we talked about, everything we talked about and postulated and just kind of protracted from the beginning of the events, it all came true.
It's true, isn't it?
And it makes me feel good. Everyone else, of course, runs around like they came up with like all the answers, but
there's archives to prove it.
Yeah, there's archives. I don't want to sound like Alex Jones. Oh, I predicted it. He always does that. But
he listens to us.
Yeah, I think so, because he listens to us. But here's the thing, my friends all point to me and go, "You're fucking crazy." And so when stuff like this happens, I point to this and go, "No, I wasn't."
That's great.
Yeah, so that Techmerica. Techmerica it should be called.
That's what I said yesterday. I said, "Hey, if you want to be invested in any backstabbing, like cutthroat pharmaceutical companies, that's the good one to invest in right now."
Well, I heard Friday their stock went through the roof last Friday.
Yeah, and they're about to make just double, triple on that as the scare increases.
They got a cash infusion of $1.5 million from Monsanto.
Oh my God.
And this mRNA and RNAi technology, I've talked about this many, many times. It's GMO 2.0. So it would make a lot of sense that Monsanto would be all hyped up about this shit.
Yeah. Bastards. I'm sick of them. Mm-hmm. They're killing us. And profiting.
Right. It's all profit.
Drives me crazy.
Hold on. All right. So here's the other thing. So one of the things that I've talked about probably over the last year is that to get us to line up, to bend over, to beg them to give us these vaccines. And remember, one of the things that I dug up in my research, and I have not. Now, it appears that this new Monsanto-financed vaccine has the RNAi in it. All the other stuff that I was researching with the DARPA financing was the mRNA variant. In my understanding, between those two things, those are just different companies that own patents to different ways of doing things. But to me, at least on the functional end, they look like they are very similar in the way they work, where they go in, they modify the RNA, they inject that, and that goes in and modifies your DNA once it gets into your body.
Ugh.
But in my research that I was doing back a few weeks ago, again, because I've gone down this path a few times, what I get really frightened about is that where else I found that mRNA in utilization is not only in these newfangled GMO 2.0 vaccines, but also in the DARPA's experimentation with the Brain Project in inserting and deleting memories, if you remember that.
Yes.
And they used mRNA to do that. So
Dude, that's
think about the implications.
Whacked. That's completely whacked.
What do you think the implications could be here?
Complete, to turn us into, robots. I mean, remove all humanity on a DNA level.
Well, not only that, but what? All of our crimes that you people are pointing fingers at? What? All of the money going out the back doors, we're shoveling out the fixtures? What? All you angsty, angry American people? Oh no, here comes Ebola. Line up, everyone. Look, we cured someone. Line up and get this newfangled vaccine that we paid for with U.S. federal dollars. And guess what? Now, when it's over, you don't remember anything.
That's right.
It's all hunky-dory. The government is great. They've inserted memories of unicorns and freaking rainbows.
Yes. Oh my God, that's crazy, Jules. Yikes. Oh my God. Unicorns and rainbows.
Well,
that's
they could.
pretty much it. They could. Dang.
Make everything all happy as far as you remember. There won't be any anger because everything has been A-okay for as long as you can think
remember.
back to. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was the time of the shot.
Which was the day of the shot, yeah. But it seems like eons. So, anyway, one of the things that I've talked about that they were going to do when they wanted us to take these vaccines, because a lot of people are kind of onto them, is that, and this was just my postulation, they were going to offer the cure for cancer. Do you remember that?
Sure.
Offer the cure for cancer, and you're going to get 95% of the people lining up.
Oh, you know.
I see a story yesterday, and right in step with this Ebola vaccination that now cured people. So fear, solution. Listen to this title. This is out of my phys.org. Self-assembling anti-cancer molecules created in minutes. Self-assembling. Yeah. Researchers have developed a simple and versatile method for making artificial anti-cancer molecules that mimic the properties of the body's natural defense systems. Now, guys, again, this sounds to me like this wacky mRNA, RNAi shit that they're working on, loaded with nanotech. I also saw there's there's the VLP, the virus-like particles that they're already putting in that HPV vaccine. And in one of the Monsanto-financed RNAi vaccination, they were talking about LNP, which were lipid nanoparticles or something, which again sounded like the other patented competing version to VLPs.
They got to corner the market, you know.
Well, they got competition.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all the same garbage going on. And they load those with nanoparticles that then go in and make changes to your body. All right, the chemists, led by Professor Peter Scott at the University of Warwick, UK, have been able to produce molecules that have a similar structure to peptides, which, we're going to find out, which are naturally produced in the body to fight cancer and infection. So we are making synthetic peptides that mimic stuff in the body. That's what that virus-like particle was as well. Published in Nature Chemistry, the molecules produced in the research have proved effective against colon cancer cells in laboratory tests in collaboration with Robert Phillips at the Institute of Cancer Therapeutics in Bradford, UK. Artificial peptides had previously been difficult and prohibitively expensive to manufacture in large quantities, but the new process, yes, Hecty was sending me these videos showing all of the new genomics technology where literally it's like doing application programming at a computer screen with
no way
DNA. Oh, yeah. Copy, paste, dink,
dude.
dink, 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 dink. You know what I mean? This is not good at all.
No.
It says, but this new process only takes minutes, and it does not require costly equipment. Now, for anyone that remembers the story about the chimeras of 90 petri dishes of human-animal hybrids that they found, actually it might have been more like 260 petri dishes, back from like 3 years ago, found in a lab in the UK, there still aren't any morals, and now we've stepped this up like 10 notches because of all of this bioterror, with quote-unquote. Think about where this can lead. I mean, this just took the lid off of Mad Science Gone Man.
It certainly did.
Hold on, I gotta find my article again. I have so many tabs open. The second I toggle over, I'm like, oh no, where did I go? All right, here we go. A form of complex chemical self-assembly. The new method developed at Warwick addresses these problems by being both practical and producing a very stable molecule. The new peptide mimics, called triplexes, have similar 3D helix forms to natural peptides. Yeah, 3D helix, what? DNA? The RNA? The chemistry involved is like throwing Lego blocks into a bag, giving them a shake, and finding that you made a model of the Death Star, says Professor Scott. You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made the Death Star that they're then going to inject into you.
Jeez.
The design to achieve that takes some thought and some computing power, but once you've worked it out, The method can be used to make a lot of complicated molecular objects. And remember, what the other tool that they have in their toolbox now is that we're just not tied to 4 proteins anymore. All other living creatures on the planet Earth have ATCG. We now have the new, developed, never before seen in nature on planet Earth X and Y proteins to be able to intermingle into DNA strands.
Who knows what the hell that's going to do?
Well, they were talking about using it to make drugs, to do this, that, and the other thing. So you got to wonder what the hell is in this new wondrous serum that is curing Ebola. Says, describing the self-assembly process behind the artificial peptides, Professor Scott says, quote, when the organic chemicals involved, an amino alcohol derivative and a picoline, are mixed with iron chloride in a solvent, such as water or methanol, they form strong bonds and are designed to naturally fold together in minutes to form a helix. It is all thermodynamically downhill. The assembly instructions are encoded into the chemicals themselves. Smart chems. While the peptide mimics created by the process have been successful in the laboratory tests on colon cancer cells, they will require further research before they can be used in clinical trials on patients. Yes, unless they declare a state of emergency with, I don't know, bioterror colon cancer.
Right.
We can get that sucker fast-tracked and injected into thousands of people at a time.
Well,
after all, the illegal aliens.
Yeah, right. Isn't Ebola, come from feces? Comes in the colon.
I don't know. You were talking about that. I never read that it came from feces. I read that it came from fruit bats.
Well, I mean, it's spread through contact with feces and,
Is it? I didn't read that either.
Yeah, I read that.
I just saw that it was close contact, but bodily fluids, which could be anything.
Bodily fluids, yes.
Yeah, so not necessarily just feces, but...
Right.
Could be barfing.
It could be. Which also comes in the colon. Well, if you barf deep enough.
I don't think I've ever barfed colon.
I felt like I have. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Nevertheless, they are made of simple building blocks, and in early tests, the teams have shown that they have very low toxicity to bacteria. This is very unusual and promising selectivity. I also see there's another story under Explore Further. Computer simulations help design molecules with potentials as cancer therapy. So keep an eye on that, because I'm telling you, the cancer cure is what is going to normalize all of this. Okay? They just brought this all into the news and to everyone's attention by making us all freak out over, these spreading pandemics that they've been trying to do now since swine flu, right? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that all you have to say? Yeah?
Well, I mean, I was explaining yesterday that they were, it was like the crying wolf thing, they were like, swine flu, and they were showing all these people in China with the masks on, and everybody on the street and getting everybody all hyped up and nothing really, I mean, there was a few people here that died of it, but everybody, the terror hype of it was, not so founded, and they're just, that's what they do. They're just, they're doing the same thing here with the Ebola.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think it's a marketing ploy. I think that, here's the thing, the military-industrial complex is making bank. And if you take a look at all these skirmishes globally that are going on right now, and the fact that all of our congressmen are invested in it, as well as, Tony Blair, I'm sure Putin, there was a big story about how Putin made his millions. It was all military equipment, bombs, drones, planes, That's who was making the money. Well, hey, Big Pharma just cut all these deals with Barricare, right? We got Obamacare taken out of being a medical care plan, so now bribes and backdoor deals are all legal.
That's right.
But they are not cashing in on the war against terror. They're like, you got to fix that, man. So I think that's what they did. I think that's exactly what they did. All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to weaponize something. You guys come up with the cure. We'll make sure that everybody needs to get the injection. And in the meantime, you could help us do all this crazy DARPA research with mind control and manipulation of DNA and this GMO 2.0. And hey, let's get not only DARPA but Monsanto involved. Oh, and big tobacco, because guess what? We're really trying to push to get everybody to quit smoking. But Philip Morris, they're one of the big boys, man. They go way back, one of the establishment. Well, hey, You know what? Let's use tobacco leaves to start making vaccines instead of eggs.
Right.
They're pulling them all into the fold now so they can all cash in.
That's right.
And, hey, I've said this now for a couple years. R&D budgets for these companies used to be millions, if not billions of dollars a year. Well, hey, once we're all tied into the database for Obamacare and they can track everything we do and all of our health problems and everything we eat and everything we get, there's no need for R&D anymore. And as soon as we, normalize this stuff and use a couple, pandemics or state of emergencies to fast-track this shit, hey, everybody makes bank. We got all these extra people pouring over the border, so, hey, there's not going to be any lack of guinea pigs.
That's right. I think you're totally spot on.
All these sick people coming through that no one even cares about or knows about, undocumented. No one's going to miss a few.
No, heck no. Are you kidding?
Let's jack them up. See what happens.
That's the sole reason why they are undocumented. So that nobody can keep track.
Well, and they want to now jack everybody up and see what happens. I think we're going to see some crazy-ass stuff happening. I think they're going to be able to go in and at, a moment's notice be able to manipulate those particulates that they've injected into you and make them, on a whim, go reorganize your DNA and make it into something else.
Yeah.
They can make cancer cells.
That's right. They can make those little nanites explode in your body or whatever.
Yeah. Did you have any stories you wanted to follow today?
Not really. This is pretty significant, I think. I would imagine that in the next few months, that's all anybody's going to be talking about is the Ebola thing and the vaccines. And I think it's good to jump on this issue early on the way we are. I think that's a good idea.
I don't want to fearmonger. I don't want people to get all freaky. I think that there definitely is a time and a place for it. I think situational awareness is something that is highly necessary. I heard things and saw things yesterday about people talking about cures that they've seen around. I'm not going to tout any cures because I have no proof of that, and I don't think that is a smart idea to be doing that. Do whatever you think is safe for you.
Yeah.
I went out and got myself a whole shitload of N95 masks because that's what at least... here's the thing. You don't know what the micron size is if these are Ebola particulates, okay?
Right.
And any of these really dangerous pathogens, a lot of them are really super tiny. So I did do a little research during the week as to... whether or not some of those UV air purifiers would work, because that was something that I had thought about a long time ago. And from what I was seeing, a lot of the UV purifiers that are out there, at least available to the end user, really don't work that well. It was how they sucked them into the filter, and they got more stuck into the filter than they did UV'd. But the other problem is the size of the holes in the filter. And they were saying that some of this Ebola was 0.02 microns or something.
Jeez.
And so it's super, super, super tiny. So I don't think that anything that any of us that would be able to afford at a few $100s for an air purifier is going to work against any of that.
Or mask-wise.
Yeah.
either.
I mean, because you're gonna have to duct tape them all.
Well, those docs, they had those like hazmat suits on, and they still got exposed. So
yeah.
And there's more African docs dropping like flies too. So I mean, and they've got like filters, like that pump in fresh air into their suits. So,
I was looking at some professional hazmat suits online. I mean, talk about expensive. You're going to be paying thousands of dollars, and they have self-contained air, by the way.
Right. We used to have little units in the hospital. I think I was mentioning that the other day. When I worked in the children's hospital, they had little tiny units with a hood and a little backpack thing that you wore that pumped in fresh filtered air into the mask itself. And it was like a one-off, you throw the hood away after you use it, blah, blah, blah. But then this little backpack thingy, air filter thing, could be used for the next mask. And that seemed pretty efficient, but I mean, that's what those people in Africa, all the docs and nurses using there, and seems to be working very well. So, I don't know. You have to have thousands of dollars, like you're saying. I mean, I don't even think
that's impossible. I mean, how you can't unless we have taxpayer dollars to spend on shit like that. I don't know anybody that has that kind of money to go spend on a hazmat suit.
No. So it's pretty messed up. Let me tell you, scary deal out there. I don't know, all these like I been saying, these people coming in from across the border, and they're actually coming in also from West Africa. So
yeah, I heard that story.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. So wait, where the hell did I post this story? Because talk about like, oh my God, let me find this. I almost shit myself, like literally last night when I saw this.
Is it a clip?
Yeah, it's a clip. Let me find it, because I crashed out last night, so I missed like all these stories that happened after crashing. But hold on, I did share a bunch of this stuff and could not believe this freaking headline.
Oh my God, there's so many of them. It's crazy.
Here it is. Okay, so we're in the middle of a pandemic, quote unquote, or epidemic, whatever you want to call it. Pandemic, global, passing from person to person, potentially airborne, whatever. We'll make sure that we cremate bodies, though, to get it into the air even more.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the flames would probably kill it, but still, all I remember are zombie movies. And I got to tell you, when I see all this stuff, I just think of Stephen King, The Stand. Been waiting for that since the 70s. So, all right, this is a big deal now, right? Everybody be afraid, be very afraid. So now we have the State Department come out. Actually, this is the White House. And wait, let me reconnect again. So we're probably going to get a little echo. But I want to play you this clip because, like, this makes all kinds of freaking sense.
3 countries or so.
No, not at this point. At this point, there are screenings that are in place, both before individuals board flights in their home countries or where these flights originate, but also after these individuals arrive here in the United States. They're screened once again. And there are facilities available that if an individual is detected exhibiting these symptoms, that they can be quarantined and promptly evaluated by a medical professional. I know that the CDC announced earlier today the deployment of additional resources to the region to try to stem this outbreak. This is, as the CDC has assessed, probably the most damaging and dangerous outbreak of Ebola that we have seen so far. But and that is why it requires a significant international response.
I think that was it. So did you hear what his whole thing was? There are no plans to stop the flights from Ebola-stricken nations at the moment.
Right.
But there's a 21-day incubation period.
Right, so screening's not going to be effective.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's going to be 21 days since you've taken this flight before you even exhibit any symptoms.
Yep.
I mean, come on. That is just insane.
Yep. I just don't even know it. If they weren't doing this intentionally, wouldn't they be saying no flights out of freaking Africa coming to the United States?
You'd think they would clamp down instantly on that.
Right. But it's almost like they're saying, well, come here and make sure you come to all of our big hubs because that's where international flights fly in. LA, LAX,
Detroit.
New Jersey. Yep.
Detroit's got an international hub, too.
Yep.
And that's send all the illegals streaming in from across the border to every single state in the nation. I heard they were up in Alaska now. I think Proper Chick said that.
What is?
The illegals being shipped into every single state in this nation. They shipped into Alaska too. Some of them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she said that today. I think it was her guest that said it. So that I was like, of course, of course. So you got people coming in from flights, and you got all the illegals being dispersed evenly across the land. So I don't know. I think they're going to get us from both sides on this one.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder. Notice how the illegal story got really super quiet too.
Yeah. And now they're just concentrating on this Ebola thing. Oh boy. It's been on, I think.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else I really want to deal with here. And there's all kinds of news going on. I saw that in Iraq, ISIS, FKA ISIS, now known as IS, have captured the largest dam in Iraq.
I saw that.
So, that's all gotten super quiet, too.
Yeah, it has. And they're just quietly killing everybody in their path. Taking over city by city by city. Now the dam. The next oil refineries. I think they have taken over some oil refineries. Well, they're just spreading and taking over, being allowed to do so.
It makes you wonder, too. Is it ratings week? Or ratings month for the, CNN, NBC, ABC? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it seems so. My goodness.
Let's get the viewership up here. Here's one more. Now, this is what I love. It's going to be probably next week before we know if the guy in New York City has Ebola. Did you hear that? I heard that at dinner and almost, choked up my taco.
Oh, my God.
And I guess there were, 6 people that they thought had it, and 5 have been cleared, but I don't know, since the tests take that long, I don't know how they could say that.
Exactly.
But, here, listen to this guy's assessment. Oh, hold on. Oh, this is annoying having to disconnect and reconnect. All right, here we go.
A patient came to Mount Sinai's emergency room in the early morning hours with symptoms of fever and recent travel to a West African country. The patient was promptly isolated and placed in a strict isolation facility at Mount Sinai such that we could protect the patient and also any staff and other patients in the facility and all visitors. We're very confident in that our work with the federal, state, and local authorities will lead to a prompt evaluation of this patient, and that we'll be able to hopefully find that there is a more common cause of fever and other symptoms that the patient has. But using an abundance of caution, we're going to work carefully with the CDC to make certain that this patient does not have the Ebola virus disease.
Odds are this is not Ebola. It's much more likely that it's a much more common condition. And we're ruling those things out as well. In conjunction with the CDC, who's been guiding us on the testing protocol, we're sending specimens down to them, and we expect an answer hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours, although we can't guarantee.
Odds are.
The important thing is that people should understand that if this were a case of Ebola, which we do not know, that it is not transmitted by casual contact. And that everything that happened at Mount Sinai happened in a very rapid fashion such that we were certain that the patient did not pose any risk to other patients or to our staff or to visitors to Mount Sinai.
Ahead. And so we spent a lot of time over the weekend, a number of the folks who are in this room, on calls, making sure that we had the right protocols in place so that any patient who arrived was immediately screened for travel history, and this is ongoing, travel history and symptoms. And if they had those things, they were immediately put in isolation before we had any other information. Even if it turned out that they were low risk or no risk, the idea was to isolate them as quickly as possible. And in this case, that's exactly what happened. It was about 7 minutes from the time they hit the door to when they were in isolation room.
No, it's only 7 minutes. Did you hear him say it wasn't casual contact?
Right. I'm sure that if you were to make out with somebody from that has Ebola, you would get it. I mean, come on. Or even kiss them on the lips, maybe? I mean, come on. What's casual contact mean?
Well, what bugs me is, like, on these international flights, if you've ever been on, like, a 3-day adventure, I mean, it's all self-contained. It's all recycled air, and you're sitting on top of each other. I would have to say that even if you weren't touching that person and you were in close quarters in a plane like that, I would have to say that you'd be close enough to get something.
Yeah, I would say so. Especially if any form of it is airborne. I mean, that's it. That's pretty much an assurance that you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what level is Ebola? Is it like a level 4 type thing? I'm trying to look here to find it, and I'm not.
I have no idea.
It. Yeah, see, I'm trying to find it. Let's see.
Hey, the courts upheld genitalia searches for Gitmo detainees. Did you see that one?
No. Holy
That's pretty
crap.
disturbing.
That's crazy. It's very disturbing. What are they going to do? How are they going to do that? I mean, they're just going to, make these people walk around naked and nuts. I'm not able to find this, so I'm not going to even talk about it.
I saw that there were doctors that have been down in Africa. The one was a doctor out of the UK that have traveled back home. He has now put himself into quarantine. So I guess he put himself into quarantine.
Yeah, now that's weird. The doctor.
Well, not weird because the doctor seems to have some sense, but why wouldn't their national, like their version of our CDC is?
Why wouldn't they have him in a isolation unit? Not
right.
didn't he quarantine himself in his own house or something?
Yeah, I believe so. At home.
Yeah. You would think that they would put him in some kind of an isolation unit.
Yeah, or something. But he quarantines himself. And hey, what seemed to happen to that pneumonic plague that was spreading? Do you remember that?
Yeah, we're not hearing very much of that, are we?
Mm-mm. Or the Chickamauga virus, or the, what was the other one? Hemorrhagic fever. I saw Gypsy saying something yesterday about hemorrhagic fever cases down in the South this year are just off the charts.
Oh my God! And where does that come from? That comes from
mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes, yeah. No, see, not really hearing too much of that.
Yeah, not at all.
And also, of course, all the diseases that the tuberculosis and the
drug-resistant
TB and all that. Geez, I don't know. I'm not talking about that. They're talking about Ebola. Maybe they don't have patent applications for the rest of those. So they got to talk about the Ebola. Come take the vaccine. It's all nutbaggy. Crazy.
Hey, that's my patented word.
It is. I like that word.
Nutbag.
I really dig it. I giggle every time you say it. Every time you say it, I giggle.
You just add a Y to the end and it makes it an adjective.
It is. It's perfectly placed.
You can do that with almost the entire English language.
That's pretty cool. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm looking. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have faced so much, and this show's just kind of gone left. So And there's not enough time. I don't know. We got 7 minutes. So let me just scroll down. We'll see what else we have going on. This was great, actually. I caught this right before I went to bed. John Kerry's phone calls. And I think this is when he was trying to broker some sort of peace talks or whatever between Palestine and Israel. Remember, that's all going on, too.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget
John
about that.
Kerry's phone calls were intercepted by Israel, China, and Russia.
Wow. Oh, my God.
Talk about, like, giving us a kiss off. I thought that was kind of funny.
Is there a clip to that?
Yeah, there is. Hold on. This is just irritating. I'm going to have to find out today where the hell they open a mic on my machine because I cannot stand this feedback every time I connect. And it was not doing that yesterday before I upgraded. Okay.
Jeez.
Here we go. Maybe. All right. It's very short.
In another development, the State Department played down a report that Israel intercepted phone calls by Secretary of State John Kerry last year. The account in the German magazine Der Spiegel said Kerry used unsecured phones during a push for Middle East peace talks. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki.
We have at our disposal tools such as secure phones and computers for highly classified communications, but there are also times we communicate less sensitive information via open lines to world leaders and others. We're fully aware of the possible risks. We will continue to utilize open communications channels when appropriate and secure communications channels when necessary.
The magazine reports that intelligence agencies in Russia and China may also have listened in on Kerry's calls.
And you know, like after what happened with the Ukraine, where we were, trying to get the EU in there when all that touched off, and we had the State Department chick that they intercepted saying, "Oh, fuck the EU."
Right?
You'd think that they probably would have, learned from their lesson, but apparently they didn't.
No, and Kerry will just, plot on the way he always has. I mean, it's pretty funny. It's kind of like when they were listening to Dianne Feinstein. Oh,
yeah! Did you see John Brennan, head of the CIA? Is that what he is? Yeah. Brennan? Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, well, we apologize for spying on the Senate. Do you remember Feinstein had demanded an apology?
Yes, I think, I read a thing on that yesterday too. So because it's really funny, and they were talking about like actually, I think it was Zori who read it. It was the CIA was spying on like members of the Senate and stuff about the torture, and so then look, the CIA exposed the torture, that they were hearing about torture and stuff, and the thing is that the CIA was actually the one doing the torturing. So, but they exposed it, and the Senate and the Congress because they eavesdropped on them, and that's how they found it out. No, you know what I mean? It's so I don't know. The whole thing is just one giant cluster F. Telling you right now.
Yeah, wait, I got a clip. There was. It's not here. Hold on. Man, I hate that. There was a clip that I actually inserted into a break on a show yesterday, and I don't think I still have it up. Hold on one second, though. I'm going to find it.
I don't know. Just the CIA is ridiculous. And now, here we go. Israel spying on Kerry. I wonder what he has to say about that. I mean, there's been obviously no comment from the dude about any of this.
Mr. Ketchup.
I guess another member of the Hines family has married into a Kennedy family. Yeah.
How great.
Interbreeding.
Here, let me play this. Talking about, I guess we've just normalized torture as well. Hold on.
Exactly.
Even before I came into office, I I was very clear that in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, we did some things that were wrong. We did a whole lot of things that were right, but we tortured some folks. We did some things that were contrary to our values. I understand why it happened. I think it's important when we look back to recall how afraid people were after the Twin Towers fell and the Pentagon had been hit and the plane in Pennsylvania had fallen, and people did not know whether more attacks were imminent. And there was enormous pressure on our law enforcement and our national security teams to try to deal with this. It's important for us not to feel too sanctimonious in retrospect.
Wait a minute. Yeah, no, we just admitted, we tortured some folks. So doesn't that make the people that were responsible for that war criminals? Isn't that against the Geneva Convention?
Yes, sir, it is.
So I don't give a shit how scared we were. Oh, yeah,
Sanctimonious? What the hell is he talking about?
Oh.
And that's coming from an asshole who's got like a kill list, and he uses drones to freaking enact that whole thing. So, come on, what the hell's going on?
To me, it just is insane that we just came out and fully admitted that we've been torturing people, but it seems to be okay, and no one's going to be held accountable for that.
Right.
How is it possible? Because as he was coming into office, he was going to close Guantanamo, but guess what? I bet you the torturing continued while he was president.
Right, because...
So shouldn't they all be held accountable?
Gitmo's still open.
Sure is. And now, we didn't get to that story. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow, that the court ruled that it's okay to search genitalia.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that unreasonable search?
Yes, it is.
I don't know.
Absolutely great.
I gotta kill. All right, guys, guess what? We are about out of time. We got 35 seconds left. So, make sure you stick around. Mr. Kevin Blanche is next. So we got to get our daily dose. Our twice-a-week dose of F-bombs. I love Kevin's show. Make sure you stick around tonight. Mr. Chuck Ocelli is on at 6 p.m. Then we have the boys from New York City on the continual condition. Maybe I'll drop Jonathan a note, see if he can talk about maybe some of the Ebola talk that's going on there. And then All Things Apocalyptic with G. Michael Hoff. Brand new show starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. Primer Time with Dan and Michael after that at 10. And Purple Chicks After Dark at 11. Thank you so much for being on with me today, Lady Pitbull.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a happy Tuesday. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.